What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and today we're going to be talking about the updated tier list regarding all the Street Fighter characters, where they actually stand up against all the other characters in the game. We're also going to be moving around a couple other characters, and I've also incorporated the EQ2 characters as well, like Ignis, Maxima, and Zero, to see where they stand on the tier list. So we got a lot to talk about, and remember, guys, when it comes to the tier list, this is completely subjective. This is just completely my opinion. There's going to be characters for you that might rank a lot higher because you're actually playing with them, and you might, evaluate a character on different reasoning than what I actually evaluate them on. I'm looking at utility. I'm looking at how good they are in guild raid, how many rubies they can actually gain for you, things of this nature, or maybe like characters that can actually just make things a lot easier, maybe even in RHD, Reviving Hell's Dungeon. I mean, I try to take in consideration all of these things when I look at characters, and I'm not perfect, guys. Sometimes I do make mistakes. Again, this is just my opinion, and things are always subject to be moved. I'm always willing to change up characters and move them around later on. So let's dive into it, guys. Let's take a look at what we got going on right here. So as you guys can see, for those of you that are new to the game and you haven't seen any tier list for this game, at least as far as I'm concerned, right here, this is the God tier. Now, God tier doesn't necessarily mean the strongest character in the game. What it means is that they're the most well-rounded. They have insane survivability. They have insane damage. They just got all of the above, right? And that's really what we're looking at as far as, God tier. I'm not looking at a character that can do the most damage. God tier is only going to be relegated to one character in their respective color. So like in Red's case, there can only be one red God tier. There can only be one green God tier. There can only be one yellow, and so on, so on, so on, guys. Okay. And that is something to keep in mind, right? So then we have, triple S, and we have SS, and we have S, and we have A, B, C, D, right? Obviously, D is going to be the worst, and God is going to be best, but really triple S a lot of times might even have the highest damage dealing character in there because maybe they don't have as good a survivability as, say, some of these characters in God tier. So let's start with, some of the characters that I've moved around. So one character that I've actually moved is Rugal, right? And actually, guys, this color needs to be changed. I mean, well, maybe, I don't know. He is actually so good in Reviving Hell's Dungeon due to his reworks. Having that 5.5 times explosion has just jumped him up. He's so strong. Like, even when I was in tier 64 and RHD and this guy was level 50, he still could do damage in there. He still could perform, do super, super well. I mean, he is going to be a lot better with his 3PG, but in RHD, it's not really going to matter as much because you're going to build your PG very, very easy. And I moved him up he was all the way at the bottom before, guys. And he jumped all the way up to here, which is pretty damn awesome. Another character that I ended up moving around was Mukai. Mukai was way down here ever since his rework. Now he's got, Darkness, he's got Dot. He's a lot better character than what he was. He's not some spectacular character. I do think that Leona and Zero are better, especially if you have Zero's 3PG from BS0. But, Mukai, in my opinion, is a better character than all these other characters, at least for now, ever since his rework. So it's actually really good to see him get bumped up quite a bit. Now, let's talk about some of the EQ characters that I've put in here. The first EQ character that I want to talk about is Maxima. So let me see if I can find Maxima. So Maxima here, I put him right below Orochi. And by the way, guys, Orochi belongs up here because, again, just like Rugal or 98 Omega, he has 5.5 times explosion. When I was going in tier 65, tier 64, RHD, this character was getting it done. He was doing a lot of damage. Not to mention you can get a free 3PG for this character in the game at all times, which is nice. But Maxima, really all Maxima is, guys, all he is, unfortunately, is just a leadership and a supporting character, right? That's pretty much what he is for NES characters. This obtains 6% power when killing an enemy for a NES fighter. And then, this increase all team members obtain 7% power. This is nice. Don't get me wrong. This works for all your team members. It's a really great tool to use to build up your PG, and it is phenomenal, but it doesn't put you like way up at the top, right? It just makes him a really good support character that you can farm for free. And the other characters, like Zero's a green defense. Let me see if I can find Zero here. So Zero, I decided to put at right below SS Marie. I do think that SS Marie is a better character than him. I do think that these other characters are better than him, in my opinion. I mean, Zero, again, guys, he's a really good character. He's a strong character, but I mean, all he has is darkness, right? That's kind of the thing about the character is he just has darkness for the 7 seconds. He doesn't have a shield. He doesn't have anything to really protect himself. He's a good character. He's got heal, whenever he applies fear, but this is only going to work really mainly in PvP. He can reset skills. I mean, he's a good character for expert mode on guild raid. He's a decent character for like immortal dungeons, but at this point in the game, especially in Inferno, he's just not going to even compare to a lot of these other characters that we have now, which is, it's pretty unfortunate, but EQ was put in the game quite some time ago. And as we all know in Copas, every banner that we get, we just get more and more power creep, guys. We just get more and more and more. And the last EQ character is BS Ignis, who I don't have yet. I'm still actually trying to farm for him. But BS Ignis, I mean, he is a terrific character, right? He is a stupendous character, guys. I mean, his leadership is awesome, increasing this fighter attack. I mean, he's got a lot of great tools in his kit with the 30% PG rate, the increased damage on critical hit. I mean, he does cast a shield whenever he uses a skill, which is nice, right? And that could be useful in RHD, getting that shield. But the problem with the character is he doesn't have dot explosion. And because of that, he's not like, here's the advantages of Ignis. Ignis has a lot of native high stats. So you can actually get an insane amount of CP on this character. That's really the true benefit of Ignis. And I have him placed right here below Chrysalid. And I do think Chrysalid is a better character. He is stronger. He is better for even Inferno guys. Like, yeah, he doesn't have the right dot, but he still has multiple dots where he has Starlight and Darkness. You can use him in multiple guild raids. Personally, I just think he's a better character overall. Ignis' survivability is better, but, Chrysalid does have a decreased damage received on his second skill. It's not as good as a shield, but it's still good. But he just has a lot higher damage, especially due to the rework. Before the rework, I would have put Ignis above Zero. But after Chrysalid's rework, I do think that he is on top of Ignis, guys, which is, some of you may disagree, but again, Ignis' value really lies in, say, a game mode like Chapter Fight, or maybe Demo Space when it actually returns, because you can get an insane amount of CP, or even in Halls of Elements, he's going to be really, really amazing. And yeah, we just had a nice little reset. So let's talk about these other characters. All right, so the first one we're going to start with is Nostalgia Chun-Li. Now, I already know that some people are going to be like, wait a minute. Why do you have Nostalgia Chun-Li, a regular fest character, above Orochi? Well, here's the thing about these two characters, guys, okay? It's honestly, I was having a lot of trouble deciding where I wanted to put these characters, but the truth is the best rewards in this game are in Guild Raid on Inferno, and Chun-Li is a better character for Nightmare Geese or Omega Rugal on Inferno than Orochi. She just is. She breaks the meter. She has the correct dodge. She has chill and poison. Guys, and her 3PG doesn't get interrupted. Orochi's 3PG gets interrupted. Yes, he is a stronger character than her. He has more damage than her, but she just breaks meters super, super fast, and that is godly valuable for a lot of players out there. I mean, it's just insane, whether she's on a Street Fighter team or whether she's on just a different team where you're using some other damage dealer that isn't a Street Fighter character. Like, her value is just skyrocket, guys. She's so good. Not to mention her 3PG is very, very long. And again, it doesn't get interrupted. I just think that she's a better character. And Orochi doesn't have dot explosion. So like in the RHD and Reviving Hell's Dungeon, they're going to be like, he's going to be better because he's got more damage, right? But she also has an EX a change of kit. She has an EX skill. And really, when it comes to the green team and RHD, you really need to level up both of these characters in order to really do well in RHC, unless we get a really good dot exploding character in the future that is a green. Currently in the game right now, the only one we have is Ino, and Ino is very, very strong and a very powerful character, but she doesn't have a shield. You can't do any of that cheekiness in RHT with her. So it does drop her value a little bit. And, really I'd put her down a little bit because she is good Guild Raid, but against Inferno, she just doesn't have the right dot. And she does have poison explosion, so she just removes the poison whenever you're facing against Omega Rugal. So that's the reason I dropped her down a little bit compared to these other characters. Orochi, I mean, really, guys, I mean, honestly, I could probably put Ino maybe in Orochi's place. I'm not really sure if I should do that or not. Let me know in the comments how you guys feel, but I do think that Chun-Li does belong above Orochi. I just think her value is much higher than him, and you can easily level her up. You can easily use dimensional invitation tickets to level the character up, and that honestly goes a lot further than having a character where you actually need BS memories to get a change-up kit, right? That's kind of a big thing. Plus, you could have got a change-up kit for her for free if you really wanted to use one on her. The next character is Luke and Ryu. Now, Luke and Ryu, as you guys see, I put them both against each other, and there's a reason for that. Luke, guys, listen, in my opinion, Ryu is a better character than Luke. I do think he's a better character. Their damage is pretty similar in all honesty. Really, I should run some more tests really to give you guys a better assessment. And the tests that I've done so far, Ryu was a little bit stronger, okay? But, you know, maybe that, but I've talked to other players that feel like Luke is a little bit stronger, but here's the thing, they're pretty close. But the deal is Ryu has a critical hit shield. Ryu, it can be used in cheekiness in RHD, Reviving Hell's Dungeon. He can go all the way top, even if he's just A2, right? Like, no problem. Plus, his first skill applies shock to all the characters on the screen at all times, which really, really helps to do a lot of damage in them higher tiers in Reviving Hell's Dungeon. And he has a better leadership than Luke. Luke has a really good leadership, but Ryu's is a much better leadership for the Street Fighter characters. But Luke, the value with him is in time attack. He actually gives you more rubies. So depending on where you put your stock, like what's more important to you? Gaining more rubies or just having a better character that's going to help you push an RHD even further, right? And having the relevant dot in Guild Raid on Inferno Nightmare Geese. Like, what's more important to you, right? That's really how you weigh it out, which one you actually think is better. Personally, I think it's a toss-up because on one hand, I think gaining more rubies is more valuable, right? It's the main currency in the game. I think most people would agree that's pretty OP, right? Luke is the best time attack character in the game. You can use him on master guys. He is just nuts. And he's easy to use on top of that because of the decreased skill cooldown from using his first skill for his ultimate move. That's just nutty, right? He can do his ultimate move and then go back and do his ultimate move again and again. It's just nuts. And he delays the timer the entire time. But Ryu, I just feel, is a better character overall and has more usefulness in the game, right? Luke, you know, he is a yellow balance, and for tier 70 in RHD, you do need a yellow balance team. But Ryu, on a cheeky team, can go up there even when you don't have the right requirements, like him and SS Terry and Akuma, right? Or him, Chun-Li, EX Chun-Li and Akuma, or Soul Bad Guy. I mean, all these characters can do some cheekiness and go all the way up to tier 70, right? Ryu is one of those characters that really gives him a tremendous amount of value. Neither one of these characters belong in God tier because neither one of them have good enough survivability. Yes, Ryu in PvP has God tier survivability, and in RHD has really good survivability, but in Guild Raid, not so much. He doesn't have that awesome shield that Terry, Nameless, Leona, or even Chun-Li has. Right, he has a critical hit shield that doesn't work in all game modes, whereas the shields for these characters works in all game modes. It increases their survivability more overall throughout all the game. By the way, and just because the character isn't God tier doesn't mean there aren't, you know, amazing characters, right? Both of these guys, like all of these characters, are amazing. They are insane, right? They just don't fit the recommendations of God tier. And then we get to Akuma, right? Now, Akuma, guys, again, just like Ryu, he doesn't belong in God tier because he has a critical hit shield, right? Both of these characters do have immunity core, which does help, but it still isn't good as a 7-second shield. It just isn't. I mean, yeah, their immunity is on a 10-second cooldown and it lasts for 3 seconds, or I think 4 seconds, right? I think it lasts for 4 seconds if I take a look here real quick. Let me take a look here. So their immunity, okay, it does last for 4 seconds, and I'm pretty sure Akuma's is the same. I believe his lasts for 4 seconds as well. Yeah, 4 seconds on a 10-second cooldown, just like Ryu, right? I mean, that is good survivability, but it still isn't quite as good as a shield, but it is really, really nice. Still, Leona stays on top. I mean, Akuma does have way more damage than Leona. He has much more power, and in all honesty, he really has a lot more usefulness because he's got the critical edge shield. You can use him in RHD. You can go all the way top. Guys, A1 Akuma could help clear tier 70 in Reviving Hell's Dungeon. That is just nutty, right? So he belongs at the very top of the triple S characters, but he just doesn't belong in God tier because, again, he doesn't have the survivability of these characters. And then we get into EX Chun-Li, who did make it to the God tier, the very first blue that made it to God tier, because she does have that nice shield. And she gets it whenever she's attacked. And her damage is just nuts, guys. Like, honestly, like Luke, Ryu, Akuma, and Chun-Li, if I just put them up against BS Rugal as far as doing damage, all four of those characters do more damage than him. But the thing about like a character like Rugal is he actually gets more of a benefit from the increased target damage received from Bison's core effect or from Leona's core effect or along with her second skill. He just benefits more because he doesn't have explosion, right? And I might go into more detail about that in another video, but this video is already going to be long enough as it is. But I do think Chun-Li is overall the best character in the blue. I think she's better than any character in here. She just has more value, in my opinion, because she does have a relevant dot for Inferno against Nightmare Geese. And the girl can absolutely solo because of her shields. She just has a lot of great survivability. She's just an amazing character, guys. She's just nuts. And then, you know, the last but not least, because I almost forgot about him, is Adelheid. Adelheid, I ended up moving up quite a few notches because he's actually, ever since his rework, he's actually way better than what he was before. But Ash here does have better survivability, or not better for survivability, but he has a better leadership for Green Fighters, which Adelheid is. And Ash actually is very, very good in the Immortal Dungeons. And that's really where these characters are going to stand. Although Adelheid is actually going to be a lot better in Spider Robot because he actually does have shock. I mean, it's really a matter of opinion, guys, but I think really because of Ash's leadership, I just think he belongs above Adelheid. Funny that Guinness is still above them, but man, he's still such a great character. So I know a lot of you might disagree, guys, but just understand where I'm coming from as far as how I look at these characters, you know, their utility, how well they are going to be doing in the game. And I bet you thought that I was going to forget about Bison, but no, I didn't forget about Bison. Bison is a terrific character. Is he better than Soul? No. He is not better than Saul, guys. He doesn't have near as good a survivability as really any of these other characters. He doesn't have an immunity core. He doesn't have a shield. But against Omega Inferno, he's just nutty. And really, I mean, you can use him against Nightmare Geese on Inferno, but he's pretty tricky to use because he doesn't have the relevant dot. He does have poison, and that makes things a lot easier against Omega Rugal. But again, guys, like in Omega Rugal, right now, whenever he stuns you, you can switch your character. Netmarble's already put out a post where they're going to let us know, where they're going to remove that bug. So when a character gets stunned, we're not going to be able to switch our characters. And we're going to see how that plays out whenever we're using a character like Bison. But I mean, guys, he really, what he is he's just a very, very good support. He's a really great support for your Street Fighter characters, and he's an amazing support for the characters that don't have dot explosion. He's just nutty for that, and that's really where his utility lies, guys. He doesn't have dot explosion. He's not going to be able to push RHD like other characters. You're going to have to level him up, which is kind of a pain, guys, especially considering he's an SS character, but you can farm for him, right? That is something that's nice about him. But these other two characters, you can get SS memories for them, and really they're better characters, but they're not as good a support as Bison, right? Depending on where you put value in these characters really depends on where you're going to put them at on this list. I do think he's a terrific character, and I do think he's better than these other characters. I mean, Shizuru can actually push higher levels of RHD, but this guy actually has an EX skill, and everybody got a change-up kit for free for him, right? But if you really want to get the value out of the character, he's got to be A5, and that does hurt him a lot. So you can unlock his EX score, so you get that extra increased target damage received by 30%. But I still think Soul and Terry, like they're just better characters, guys. They just have more survivability. Both of them have extended dot explosion. Both of them have a shield. I just think they're just better characters and are going to be more useful throughout the game. But Bison's utility as far as his support is undeniable. He really is awesome for that. And I really feel like when people are going to use this character in Guild Raid, they're going to be using him mainly as a support. There will be players out there that will use him as the lonesome warrior, where he's going to be just doing solos, and that's great, and he can absolutely do it, guys, as long as you got a healing striker, because he does have a heal in his 3PG. But I feel like most players are just going to use him as a support. So again, guys, remember, this is just my opinion. This is completely subjective as far as, what is the best characters, where they rank on the tier list. So if you do disagree with anything that I put in this kit, please put it down in the comments below. Let me know why you disagree, why you think maybe another character belongs on top or belongs in a certain tier. And I wanted to do this tier list today because this is the last day for the Street Fighter collaboration. So do make sure, guys, that you do grab all of your coins. Make sure you collect everything from the SFV event here. Get all these tokens if you can to try to get Chun-Li, right? Make sure you can try to get this character because, man, she is awesome. And on my free-to-play account, I was able to get her A3, guys. And if you're wondering whether or not you should pull for any of these characters on the last day, remember, currently right now in the game, as far as EX characters are concerned, there is no other way to level them up. You have to get EX memories from here in order to level them up. But I do think Netmarble will give us EX memories in the future. I don't know when they'll do it. So that is something that, you might have to be patient about. And when it comes to your SS characters like Luke and Bison, you can always get SS memories through the game from Guild Raid and actually through events also. So if you're thinking about pulling more for SS characters, but yet you want to conserve on your rubies, I probably wouldn't pull for them unless you're near the pity and you only got to spend a few rubies to get them, right? As far as EX characters, guys, I mean, Akuma and Ryu are just nutty. They are insane. Bison is an amazing support character. So it's really up to you whether or not you want to pull for these characters. But I do wish you all good luck on this last day for the Street Fighter collaboration. And also, guys, make sure that you collect everything from the rush dungeons. Make sure, like in the tower or in here in the exchange shop, collect everything that you can. Collect whatever set cards that you can. If you need to farm for tokens to get more of those card sets, go for it. They're really amazing sets. They're the best sets for Akuma, Ryu, and EX Chun-Li. If those are characters you're really trying to buff up, those are the best sets for those characters. And collect everything from your codex as well. So let me know how y'all doing in the game. Let me know the kind of luck you had on your last day of the Street Fighter collaboration. And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. G2+7 time. The link is in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See you, everybody.